Hey everyone, this is the engineering retro, or not retro, sorry, demo, Thursday, September 21st. And first, I just wanted to bring back the mascot for this iteration, and it is this lovely cat who's doing lots of things in the kitchen, because that is us for the last 2 weeks and probably for the next couple months, doing lots of stuff in the kitchen. I think I'm first, so I'm gonna stop sharing and just go over what I did for the last 2 weeks. Um, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of stuff couldn't get finished. So I'll start off with the first one is GA4 and Contentful. So I kind of handed it off to Dennis and let him decide if that's something we want. So essentially what it does, it just shows a lot of GA stuff. So per page. So if we go to like the content section, click on a page, then we get to see all the GA information for that page, and then you can click on it and go to GA. So it'd be kind of handy, but it's not a necessity. The next one is the categories and features and stages out of dub. So good news, features is no longer being used in dub, which is super exciting. But we found out that those files are being piped into Snowflake. So that adds another level of complexity because now we either have to update that reference to Contentful or yeah. But that's where we're kind of at, is we're just trying to find out more from the product team to see where we want to go with all those files. Yeah, I did a bunch of stage name changes and removing manage from platform table and just some small little bugs around that. And then I was in Contentful for a lot of time, just kind of organizing things and then setting up landing pages for solutions and finished up the events one. Solutions one, I just have to wait because the solutions landing page shows a preview of all the solutions, and those are not migrated over yet. It's slated for next iteration. So the rest of the page is kind of ironed out. It's just waiting for that one, those pieces of data before finishing up. I think I don't have it open, but I think Laura, you're next.
Yeah, thank you. This iteration, I made a few changes to one of the solutions pages links. I also helped Irene with some updates to the resources section on the security compliance solutions page. We got some new translations in for the pricing page. So I updated the pricing page localization files. I updated the platform page. We got a new hero image for that. So I swapped that out and made some improvements to how we load the table. Full disclaimer, those improvements were improvements that Mark had already made, and then I overwrote when I was doing work on the platform page. So I added those back in. And then in Contentful, maybe I can share my screen. I did the resources landing page. Let's see if I can do this. I'm on like just my tiny little laptop screen. So let's, okay. Yeah, so this is the resources page. It's the review app. So it's pulling all this information from Contentful. There are hundreds of these little cards, which like if I load more, they just go on. I didn't realize how many they were. So I've been fighting with the migration script to try and get all of those into Contentful. But for now in Contentful, this is like one giant blob of like JSON. I'll just open this and show it really quick. So all of these goes on forever, which is not ideal. So I'll work on fixing that. But I did add these card group content types to resources because most of the resource page is groups of cards. This is a group of cards. This is a group of cards, which kind of makes sense for iterating over like an array of cards in Contentful. So I added that in if anyone wants to use it. But yeah, that's, I believe, it for me. I'll stop sharing. I also don't have it open, but I think, is it Megan? Yeah, Megan.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was mostly case studies after battling with the migration script for like way too long, a week. All the case studies are in Contentful, which is a really good feeling. That was like 75-ish pages. That made migrating the customers all page just so easy. It's just referencing all those case studies now. And then lastly, the pricing feature comparison page. I think that's really a feature comparison for self-hosted features. So I made a new content type that's like a comparison table, which we'll also be able to use on the pricing page when we migrate that over. So that'll be a big chunk of work already done. My stretch goal is to get to the customer's landing page. Didn't get to that, but now that all the case studies are migrated, this should be so much easier to do early next week. So that's it for me. Next is Miguel.
Thanks, Megan. I did last week a lot of work that wasn't about Contentful. So I did a small update to the code suggestion pages, updating an icon. I created the Washington, D.C. executive page for the DevSecOps World Tour, and that went out. I also pushed to merge some changes from the last iteration on the solutions, analytics, and insights carousel that also went live. And I managed to migrate one page to Contentful. I'm gonna share my screen. So we migrated this install C or EE page. It's a very simple page that it's already live on production. This is already pulling content from Contentful. So it's just basically one JSON schema and the next steps component. So that's what I have here. It was very good to have this push to production, and we have like a path forward for doing that. And I'm halfway there, doing the same thing for the free trial page, and I'll be continuing that work. And with that, I'll pass it over to Javi.
Thanks, John. Or John, sorry, Miguel. Oh, no. Well then, this iteration I worked on. Okay, so I'm looking at my screen here. I did a small thing for the Partner Alliance, Testify Sec. I did some work with wrapping up the navigation to Vite, and then I pushed out another iteration with trying to get the the CSS class prefix, and then getting the fonts to work well in local dev. Let me see. Solutions, landing page logo entries. So that was contentful work. Right now, I'm mostly done with the topics pages. I just have to figure out why my builds aren't working, but I'm like 95% of the way there. There's also a couple components that I didn't realize exist in that template that need to be supported. Yeah, I'll briefly share my screen just to show some of this work off. Here. So look at this. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful.
I didn't get that.
Oh,
Could you try again?
oh, Siri. Thank you. All right.
My pleasure.
That's awesome. With that, I'll pass it over to Margaret.
So for this iteration, I worked on a couple of updates for DevSecOps pages. I also worked on fixing a bug for the homepage, and I worked in migrating the standard events template to Contentful, and also all our standard events. I'm gonna share my screen to show you guys that. Let me know where you can see it. So this is I actually migrated all these standard events, so these are all in Contentful now. And you can see the content coming from Contentful in the review app. And I also created a standard template entry. So if we need to create new events in the future, we can just duplicate this and duplicate the content, the entries here. So I mostly built this using Megan's text and header block and the Tacoma block, and just pretty much going through the content and just deciding what can actually be just a text block instead of an array, or instead of just a bunch of just values that we had for each line of text before. So this is pretty much how it turned out. And yeah, you can actually see this is the template. And I'm going to try and modify some data here so you can see. Whoop.
Maybe you have to publish your changes.
Oh, no, here it is. So you can see the change here. So the standard template just uses the most common components between all these standard event pages. So you can see this is just placeholder content, and you can just go and edit and see how it works. I also started working on our word tour pages, migration to Contentful. So this is what I have so far. I'm a little bit behind, just trying to figure out how to bring all that content from events from Contentful to our code. But I'm pretty sure that I can pick up now that I have it kind of figured out. So this is what I have for that word tour template, and it's also coming from Contentful. Let me go to that. So I'm reusing a lot of the fields I created for the standard events, and I'm using conditional logic, our extension, to just display the sections or the fields here that I want to display for each event type. So this is word tour. So a lot of things are going to be hidden, so we don't have all of that clutter kind of like confusing anyone that is adding content here. So yeah, planning to create the landing page for the word tour pages, but it's going to be easier once I have all the pages migrated. And I think that was it for me. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to pass it over to Miracle.
Thank you. So this iteration, I started off by finally getting the changes to our marketing cookie merge. So you can see here it's finally called the normal name, and there's some other changes, but it's GitLab user, which I was excited about because to get this cookie live, I had to name it something ridiculous and long that made no sense just to get it through reviews. But now it's a normal name, which I'm really excited about. I didn't mean to stop sharing. Let's come back over here. I also finally got blocked for my free trial changes. So this is what the free trial this is what the free trial page looks like now. And then after all of this gets merged, this is what it's going to look like in the future. So this MR is I'm getting this MR ready to go finally into reviews instead of development, which is super exciting. I also worked on all of the localization edits from the copywriters for the solutions pages. So those pages can finally get released into Contentful. And I did a hot fix on the software faster image. And that's it for me. Who's next? John?
Yes, thank you. Well, for this iteration, I work a lot with Contentful. I'm going to show my screen right now. Where it is? Oh, I can see it. Okay, here it is. Okay, so for this iteration, I worked with navigation. So I migrated all the localized content into Contentful. So for the navigation, we have all locales, all languages, and I did it using entry-level localization. So if you see this, we can see all the different language entries. So one entry per language as entry-level localization, and for submenus, the same. You can see, and I added like a label for each language, so we can easily filter in Contentful. It was a lot. You can see that I created more than 200 entries. It is no lot, so but it is a lot. But now we have all this content in the navigation from Contentful, and also we have localized content for the navigation. Let's see if it loads. My computer is really slow today. Okay, and it is localized right now from Contentful. Also, I work with a little proposal to implement, where it is? To implement separation of concerns, and I implemented a real case scenario with why GitLab page. So the goal was to keep this page clean, this why GitLab.view page clean. So everything that is fetching, mapping, and related logic is in this service, and here I only call this service and get my content, and that's it. And the problematic things, let's say, the whole bunch of code is in the service that I'm not going to show you to not be too technical. And the end result is this. This is the page, GitLab page. Everything comes from Contentful. Thank you, team, for all the abstract content types that you have created. I created all these things with those content types. For this complex, I believe, menu, I created a content type that is only for custom, or let's say specific components and complex components. So it has a name, it has data that is JSON, and I could implement it right here in GitLab page. So here I have my hero, my banner. The categories block is this custom component. And if you find any specific or complex component that doesn't deserve a content type, let's say, you can use this content type. And it will be isolated from the rest of the page. And that's it for me. Next one is TM.
Thanks, John. So I think everyone knows by now, but we had a major release for the navigation project. Yeah, so I mean, I made some minor changes for the nav, but the main point of the iteration was the bundler that have been migrated to Vite. So that's awesome. Everything is working. It didn't break, so that's awesome. And so with that, now we won't use the same nav for our buyer experience and www repo. So we have now two navs. I wrote documentation in our handbook about it, so you can check there. But I can just resume it. Now we have forked a new main branch from the main branch, a regular main branch, and we have like a legacy main branch. So when you need to do like some updates to the nav, now you have to do in two different places. Don't forget that. And then in order to push these updates, we have to publish using the 4 dot something something in our NPM, not use the 5 dot something that it's the major right now that we use in buyer experience. So we have 2 new sections in our handbook, and let's see. Oh yeah, and we deployed yesterday our new legacy version, let's say, and everything's working just fine, so we are good now. And I see that my board is blank. I don't know why. I swear I'm working. But I am migrating our private page, and I don't know why my issue is not appearing in my board. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And I think next is Lauren.
Yep, that's me. That's awesome. We got the nav now over in VE and in V, and we saw some performance improvement from that, and we'll keep an eye out to get more data there. I'm working on migrating, pulling our company culture all remote page up a directory. There's blank templates getting created at company/culture. So I'm just gonna try that, help fix some SEO stuff. I worked with legal async in a GitLab issue to get their thumbs up on adding what tier a user belongs to our marketing cookie, which is so cool. So it's going to be like GitLab user premium or GitLab user ultimate. From there, we could do anything. And then also booted up a rollout issue for our first ever experiment that we're going to run in the GitLab product using Glex. And so that's going to be using the free trial form that Miracle's been working on. And we're going to A/B test that with the current form. So that will be a really good learning opportunity for us. With that, I'll pass it over to Justin.
Thanks. I just got done creating issues for next iteration. Go figure. It's a lot of contentful stuff. With that, I also want to shout out to Megan real quick on something that the team saw. We have a new DEX GitLab like email, like or GitLab account side of a DEX group that we can tie into like service bots, deploy things that'll really help us to like make sure that we can automate contentful migration or contentful build processes and everything in the future. So that was great, Megan, and we got that done. Aside from that, starting next week, we're going to open up some training. We're going to start adding people to Contentful. We're going to set up some training sessions, get the blog live, had the meeting with Chandler earlier. So that'll be what I've started that process now, and we're going to move it all into the next iteration and get people in there, start making content changes so we don't have to anymore. With that, hand it back to Nathan.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, well, thanks for watching, everybody. That was actually pretty long. That might be one of our longest ones. There's a lot to show. So great job. And we'll see everybody either in 2 weeks at the next one or in probably like 30 minutes, maybe in our retro. So yeah, please remember to hit that thumbs up and leave a comment.